ladies and gentlemen, to an all-new reaction and review. Tonight, guys, I'm checking out a film from 1982. That movie is The King of Comedy. Now, the only things I really know about this movie, guys, I'm going to list it all off for you right now. I do know that the film is about a struggling stand-up comedian who holds a talk show host hostage in a desperate attempt to get onto said talk show host's show. Which sounds kind of cool. I know that the movie is directed by the legendary Martin Scorsese, and it stars Robert De Niro, which means that this is a Scorsese film starring Robert fucking De Niro that I haven't seen yet. I need to fix that right now. I'm hoping for the movie to be good, and when those two get together, when friggin' Marty Scorsese and Bobby fucking De Niro team up and make a fucking movie, awesome shit usually happens. I'm hoping for that to be the case here, and the only way I'm going to find out is if I shut up and I push play, and I'm going to do that right now. So, without further ado, it's time to kick back, relax, and check out The King of Comedy. You know, guys, it's kind of weird. I've seen a lot of this man's movies. I don't think I've ever seen a single movie where Robert fucking De Niro has to play a character who is this awkward. But goddamn, he makes it work so well, man. You know, guys, it took a long time for me to completely forget that Sandra fucking Bernhard was even a person. And after seeing her for just a scant few minutes in this movie, I'm kind of pissed off that I have been reminded that she actually fucking existed. My God, is she ever irritating. You know how I said earlier, guys, that I honestly thought that Rupert's character was incredibly awkward and it seemed kind of weird and it just felt a little different for Robert fucking De Niro to play him? Well, guys, in the past few minutes, Rupert has gone from being just a fucking awkward schmuck to being just straight up fucking creepy. And you know what? It still fucking works because we all friggin' know that Bobby can do creepy. But still, I was kind of expecting the character to just stay like an awkward, bumbling schmuck, and it's just been getting a little bit more unfucking settling with every passing scene, and I'm actually kind of sort of digging it a little bit. Alright guys, you know, I seriously had no idea that you could make a joke about fucking around with cue cards funny, but goddammit, this whole fucking scene has been really friggin' good. I am loving this. I swear to God, guys, every time Sandra Bernhard talks, her voice is like nails on the chalkboard of my soul. It's slowly starting to drive me fucking nuts. She is the one thing that is kind of ruining this fucking movie for me. You know, guys, at this point, I would really like to rather see Rupert's fucking, you know, like, stand-up act on the show instead of seeing Sandra Bernhard attempt and fail to be sexy and slowly nauseate me with every passing second. Can we please jump back to his monologue? No, of course not. We're gonna cut right to post-monologue. Thank you, film. That was really a waste of a good 40 seconds. We could have gotten something good, and instead we got to watch some ugly, ugly chick try to be sexy and fail miserably. How generous of you. Well, guys, that was The King of Comedy. Let me shut that off. Okay. Man, that was really good. Well, I honestly, guys, was not friggin' expecting less than good, because, as I said earlier, this is a film starring Robert De Niro, directed by Martin Scorsese. We were almost guaranteed something great, and we got something great. I really did like this film. Why don't we start with the writing? I went into this thing knowing that it basically was about a comedian and a lunatic fan, well, actually it's two fucking lunatic fans, who kidnap a talk show host in order to well, one of them actually wants to get on the show, the other one wants to fuck the talk show host. And, you know, all of that is written really, really well. And I do want to talk about our leading character, Rupert, who is the bumbling kind of sort of shitty comic who wants to get onto the show. And it starts off, and he honestly is just kind of sort of shy and meek and like bumbling around a little bit, and you just basically see the depths of his fucking lunacy as the movie goes on, as he's having these long fantasies about being on the show and being best friends with Jerry and all this other fun shit. And you know, now honestly that I am thinking about it, it actually kind of brings into question whether or not the ending of this movie actually happened, or if it was just another one of Rupert's fantasies drawn out and shown to the viewer. Because I'm going to tell you guys, this movie's really smooth in not telling you exactly when the fantasy starts and reality ends. So you basically have to kind of sort of figure it out as you are going on. However, though, when your movie ends, and it ends on this real upbeat thing for Rupert, the only thing I can say, and mind you, I'm not trying to spoil exactly what happens in the ending, about the only thing I can say is, I don't know if any of that actually happened, or if it was Rupert having like a prison fantasy. I do not know. Moreover, I really do not care. Now, not only do we get to see Rupert as he's just slowly having a little bit of like as he's slowly like falling apart mentally, as he is trying to get onto the show and all this other fun stuff. We then have his friend, who's played by Sandra Bernhard, who basically is just a diehard super fan of Jerry and just wants to fuck him in the worst way possible. And the problem with that character, and I'm going to just mention it now, and then I'll go into detail later because I got more to talk about with writing, is who they cast in that role. I will go into detail in just a minute, but we still have some more on writing. Now, one thing about the writing, though, that I really loved is that this shows you both ends of the fame, spectrum. Because on one end you have Rupert, who is a complete nobody, who is trying desperately to just basically burst out and become an instant hit in the world. In short, he basically is some lazy asshole who does not want to work to get famous. And then on the other end of the spectrum, we have Jerry, the person who has scraped, scratched, and fought to get where he is, to be one of the biggest talk show hosts on television, and you get to see the kind of fucking lunatic fans who will basically crowd him, stalk him, attack him. Well, that's more just, Rupert and his lunatic friend. However, though, you also will see just how people, like, dog him on the streets, and it just sort of shows you the downside to fame. And you get to see both of these in very sharp focus throughout the film, and that really is done very, very well. I really, really love how the characters are all, fleshed out. Our story here is really well, written. Guys, writing here is just top-notch. Now, acting. I am going to say, I loved almost everybody in this film, but naturally, as you heard as I was watching, I'm not a fan of Sandra fucking Bernhard. I never have been, and I never will be, and this is probably going to be a little bit biased because I don't like her. But I'm just going to come right out, guys, and say it. She cannot act. She is not funny. In this film, I learned she can't fucking sing. I never even knew that she would fucking attempt to sing. But she does not have the musical skills that God fucking gave a dying cat. She has nothing. And they try to play her up as sexy. My God, no, she is probably one of the least sexy women you will ever fucking see. Yeah, she was probably the worst possible choice to put into that role. You want somebody who can play creepy, who can play nuts, but who can also at least not be grating to listen to, who can perhaps maybe give off a single line and make it sound like it's actually fucking believable. And I'm going to tell you guys right now, when everything, guys, is said and done, the one thing that almost absolutely torpedoes this film is Sandra Bernhard and her shitbag acting. I really wish that they would have cast somebody else in there. They could have cast anybody else, and the film would have been infinitely better. It would have been scores better if they would have cast almost anybody else. Now, I'm going to stop banging on about my absolute hatred for the talent, vacuum that is Sandra Bernhard, but let's talk about the rest of the acting. And the rest of the acting is top-notch stuff. And that, guys, is from everybody from our fucking, like, guest stars and all of our little fucking, like, celebrity cameos and all of our, smaller-time regulars. And De Niro, I said way early on in this video, I have never seen De Niro play a character as awkward as Rupert in my entire life. And he continues to play him incredibly awkward, incredibly stiff. And that honestly is because that is how the character is. And as he begins to, and as he begins to let his mind kind of sort of, like race off into fucking Fantasyland, things honestly go from just kind of sort of awkward to awkward and incredibly creepy. And the whole thing works. It works incredibly well. And that, though, is because we have a powerful actor such as Robert De Niro playing him. And Jerry, our talk show host, Jerry fucking Langford, is played by legendary comedian Jerry Lewis. And Jerry Lewis is also a fantastic actor, too, and he absolutely kills here. And the funny thing about that is the fact that we have one guy who you don't normally think of working comedy. He is playing the fucking comedian. We have this bitter, burnt-out fucking, star who's played by a comedian, has almost no lines of humorous dialogue in it. It really did seem like a rather stark, difference in how the two men are normally cast. And goddammit, it worked really well for both of them. Both of them showed that they have fantastic range, even more than I already knew that the both of them had. So guys, acting here is really well. Camera work. I guys, want to talk about the level of detail that this thing went into in terms of camera work. Everything here that is shot as part of the Jerry Langford show, or at the very end in what, again, may or may not be a fantasy, Rupert's own possible show. All of that is done with actual television cameras, and you can actually see all of the film grain and all the slight blurriness that came from early 80s television cameras. And that really does stand out when everything else is shot on proper film. And it just adds that extra level of realism to everything. And that guys really does help punctuate this movie and make it work just slightly better, because they actually took the effort of shooting all of their television show footage on video, and it worked really well for this movie. And beyond, honestly, that one detail, camera work here is just fantastic. And that honestly, guys, if they're shooting in the real world or if they're filming for television, everything here is shot really well, and it is just masterful filmmaking. Our sound mix here is good. Our soundtrack, well, there really isn't a whole lot of a score in this film. And almost all of the music is either basically stuff for the Jerry Langford show, or it's music that is playing out of fucking businesses and car stereos inside of New York as people are walking down the street. And all of that, not only, guys, is the music that's blaring out of almost all these businesses amazing early fucking 80s and late fucking 70s stuff, which makes sense since the movie was made in 1982, but everything here, guys, was mixed beautifully. Our lighting here is really good. Our sets look awesome. Guys, when all is said and done, am I able to recommend The King of Comedy? Oh, fuck yes. I can totally recommend it. Even guys, with that one huge negative I talked about, I promise I'm not going to say anything further about it. Beyond that one horrible negative, everything else here absolutely comes back and makes you want to watch more. I am so happy I finally had a chance to watch this. I've been meaning to watch this movie for years, and now that I finally had my chance, oh man, I am not fucking disappointed. This thing was amazing. And I can definitely recommend it to anybody who hasn't seen it. Now, The King of Comedy came off the Amazon wishlist. The person who sent it in is Ariel, not a girl. Ariel, not a girl, I thank you. You can find his YouTube channel at youtube.com/user/TVBRobotnikReturns. Dude, I thank you so much. And as I stated just a minute ago, I've been meaning to watch this thing for quite a few years now. Probably, shit, I think maybe about 10 years, 15 years now. I've been meaning to get around to watch this, and I never really had the time. And then when you sent it in off of the wish list, I finally had my opportunity, and I finally found a spot on the schedule to put it on. And I would probably have never gotten around to watching this if you hadn't sent it in, and for that, I thank you so much, dude. Once more, that is youtube.com/user/TVBRobotnikReturns. Wow, guys, that thing was incredibly good. I really kind of feel like watching more fucking Scorsese. I believe I still have a copy of, I think I still have a copy of Taxi Fucking Driver around here somewhere. I'm going to go and give that thing a watch again. And then I'll probably just dig around my collection and see what else I can all find. Anyway, guys, with that, we come to the close of another reaction and review. Until next time, ladies and gentlemen, take care, and I will see you all in the near future. Peace.